But I see these guys as the dynamic duo that can teach us a thing or two about facing the future with confidence. Because if you're gonna face the future with some confidence, the first thing you need to do is exactly what Peter did that night, and it's this: focus on Jesus. Because you will move towards whatever it is that you're focused on. Golfers, we know this better than anybody else. There is a big difference between focusing on the fairway and focusing on not shanking it into the woods. If all you're focused on is not hitting your Pro V1 into the lake, then do yourself a favor and pick up your golf ball, tee it up in the drop zone, because you will move towards whatever it is that you focus on. So before we give Peter all the attention in this story, let's focus on what Jesus is doing. Verse 22, immediately Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. So he makes the disciples get into the boat and row to the other side of the lake while he climbs a mountain by himself to pray and wait for the storm to roll in. Now, I'm not saying that God schedules the storms in your life, but I am saying he knows about them, he expects them, and he uses them. That your diagnosis did not surprise him, your layoff did not catch him off guard. In fact, you wanna know what I learned from a Holy Lands professor this week? I learned that the sea the disciples were struggling in was visible from the very spot on the mountain that Jesus was praying from. Just because you can't see God doesn't mean God can't see you. In fact, go read Romans 8:34 later. It says, right now in real time, Jesus is seated at the right hand of God, watching over you and interceding for you. And maybe the reason he often waits until the fourth watch of the night before he shows up is because he's more committed to your calling than your comfort. I've heard it said as Christians, we often associate Christ with comfort and the devil with disruption, when in reality, it might just be the devil trying to keep you nice and comfy, and it's probably Jesus who's trying to interrupt your life and get you to come walk with him on a lake in a storm to get out of your boat. And maybe he's waiting until the fourth watch of the night because he's trying to forge some fourth watch kind of faith in your heart. He might just be setting you up for the story of a lifetime. Focus on Jesus. If you're in a storm, I'm so humbled to get to be the messenger right here. God wanted me to tell you there is something on the other side worth going through this storm for. And I know it's dark, and I know it's hard, and I can't imagine the pain, and I can't imagine the stress. But to quote Pastor Stephen Furtick, if you don't endure through the dark part, you won't get to the good part. I'm not sure who I'm talking to. Maybe you just got a diagnosis, or somebody you love just got the diagnosis. Maybe you're in the middle of heartbreak. Maybe you're in the middle of the unknown right now, or you just got laid off, or you just had a falling out with somebody very important to you. Maybe you're contemplating suicide right now because you just can't imagine continuing to live if life is this hard, and you gotta hear me shout this to you. It's not gonna feel this way forever. It's not gonna feel this way forever, man. Spring comes after winter every year. Storms are dark. None of them are permanent. You gotta endure. You gotta live. You got more in you than you know. God is forging a fourth watch kind of faith in your heart. And even when you can't see him, he's got his eyes on you. You gotta endure. You gotta be confident that the one who began the good work in you is the same God who will take it to completion, because in Jesus' name, you haven't seen the best part of your life yet.